Morning, President Obama visiting Congress. Spent 2.5 hours on the Hill yesterday trying to get Republicans, and they're the only people he met with, to approve his stimulus plan and have it ready to sign on his desk by President's Day, which is February 16th. But the word is that the Obama administration can have it passed even without the Republicans. So what's it mean for Florida if it's adopted? Well, it means an estimated $22 billion coming our way. Joe Krier, president of Krier Wealth Management, here to discuss the ups and downs of the bill. Joe, the reality is, without some bailout money, Florida faces some even deeper cuts when it comes to education, health care, and some other issues. Charlie Crist is out of step with the rest of the Republican nation in siding with the Obama administration. Is it in Florida's best interest for the stimulus package to be passed?
I think it is, and I'm not one who's going to sit here and say I'm big on big government spending, but there are times when the government needs to step in and help us through a tough spot until the economy can get going again and take care of itself. In the Great Depression, which a lot of people seem to be comparing this period to, the government sat back for 3 years before they did anything, and then the disaster was much bigger before they got around to helping out.
Well, let's talk about 1933, because if you look at the parallels between the Depression and what we're having now, there are indeed some things that are similar. FDR was able to accomplish a lot, but jobs was the biggest challenge for him, and he couldn't create enough fast enough.
Yeah, for sure. And Obama's biggest thing coming into this administration is, just like FDR, he's got to change public opinion here and have as much of an immediate impact as possible. The stimulus bill gets to that point, but he's kind of fighting an uphill battle. He wants to create 3 million jobs. In the meantime, while it's in legislation, we're going to lose 1 million by the time they get this thing implemented.
Now, there's an argument. Some people say, okay, there's a measure in here that provides for spending $200 million to refurbish the National Mall. We don't understand how that's going to benefit the nation. And then somebody drew a parallel. They said, okay, well, if you go ahead and do that, that means you're going to need supplies. So that means the suppliers are going to have people in their workforce to go ahead and meet the needs to fix the National Mall. Now, the people who work for the supplier are then going to spend money at the store. So the store is going to have people at the cash register, and it's kind of a domino effect.
Yeah, there definitely is a trickle-down effect, and, sometimes we like to refer to it as the velocity of money. Even that money that's spent on those supplies goes, and like you say, back to the store. And he's looking at infrastructure projects all over the country. States like Florida that you mentioned, they have to submit a list, and they already have, of what we call shovel-ready projects. And in our case, it's projects that got started that were canceled, put on hold, perhaps 3/4 of the way through permitting. As a lot of us know, and your viewers know, permitting in Florida can take 3 to 5 years. So, that's one of the arguments here as far as getting this money in use right away.
If you had a crystal ball, will it be adopted by Congress? And will Florida reap the benefits in a fairly reasonable time frame?
Yes, it'll probably be approved later today. As you mentioned, they don't necessarily need Republicans there, but they really want them in there because, they don't have a supermajority here, and they're going to need that crossing the aisle. From what I've seen, Obama's crossed the aisle much more than Democrats in Congress have. So there's some infighting that, hopefully they can resolve that. Florida will get money. They'll get it in 2 ways. They're going to get a chunk just to plug right into our state budget to help this budget that's being debated right now pass. And there's going to be a lot of projects. I think a lot of the money is going to head towards South Florida, where there's a lot of incomplete roads and bridges. But we're going to get maybe not $20 billion right away, but we'll get a nice chunk.
I'm out of time, but I want to ask you another quick question. There's some economists who say we start to turn the corner second quarter of '09. Bit ambitious?
It's a tough call. I think that right now we see unemployment spiking up, and historically, when you see this massive spike in unemployment, it doesn't last very long, and it tends to peak right at the end of a recession. So,
71,000 jobs lost Monday alone. Target's going to lay off.
It's going quick.
Joe Krier, thanks much. To discuss these issues further, give Joe a call, 296-8138. And he's got a great weekly commentary that offers some wonderful perspective for you. You can get it simply by emailing him at joekrier@krierwealth.com. Well,